Hello students, I am Barsha, your teacher for today. I welcome you all to this online class of EVS. We have already learned in the previous class about the malarial parasite and how they are caused by the female Anopheles mosquitoes. Today we will cover some more interesting facts about a treat for mosquitoes. So let us start now. Now let us know how these malarial parasite is carried through the mosquitoes. Now you know that when a mosquito bites you, the mosquito sits on your skin and the parasite which is there with the mosquito that is left on your body through the saliva of the mosquito. The mosquito carries this disease carrying germ, the female Anopheles mosquito which is there in it, that is left on your body through its saliva. Now let us know what special ways these mosquitoes are bred. Now Jaskirat says, there is a poster on malaria just outside our class. Now everyone goes out to look at the poster. You people also could see the poster clearly in the slide. What does it say? Read it carefully and then you should tell me what is there in the poster. There are some pictures and it is an awareness poster, awareness from malaria. What does it say? Are you inviting mosquitoes? If you know that malaria is caused by the mosquitoes, then we should invite mosquitoes or we should avoid them. Definitely we should avoid them. So we should not put any condition for the mosquitoes to grow in large numbers. But what helps these mosquitoes to breed and grow in large numbers? We should know that. So this poster tells us how to beware of that. It says beware. They spread malaria, dengue, chikungunya. So what are the steps we could follow to avoid these diseases which are spread by the mosquitoes? Don't let water collect around your house. Fill up the pits. Students, you should know the water which gets collected for a longer period of time, that becomes stagnant, and that is the best place for the breeding of the mosquitoes. So whenever you see any such pits or places where there is stagnant water, please don't allow the water to be stagnant and to get collected around your house. There could be some old tires, there could be the coolers or the tanks where this kind of water gets collected, and without our knowledge it gets stagnant. So you should be very careful about that. You should not allow any pits to be collected from the water. Keep the water pots, coolers and tanks clean. They should be dried every week. So this is what you can do to avoid the breeding of the mosquitoes. The places where water is kept, it should be always cleaned weekly and they should be clean. Let it be the water pots, let it be the coolers or the tanks. All these places should be cleaned and should be dried every week so that the water doesn't get collected there and mosquitoes do not get a place to breed themselves. Use mosquito nets to protect yourself. This is a very helpful way to avoid these kind of diseases. Mosquito nets are a very effective way to help us to avoid the mosquitoes. When you sleep under the mosquito net, we get the ultimate protection, and so these mosquitoes also could not reach us and bite us. Nowadays there are special ways also, like many mosquito repellent creams are coming in the market. There are the mosquito coils. Now the mosquito incense sticks are also coming, but these coils and sticks, they create smoke and sometimes they could be suffocating. So the best way is the mosquito net, or you can also say a mosquito repellent cream is also very effective. Spray kerosene if water has collected at some place. Without your knowledge, if there is some water around your house, that could be cleaned, or if you do not know it has already been collected, so you could spray kerosene over the water and the mosquitoes will not come to that place. Now there is a discussion among the students about the poster. Rajat says, the poster says something about the larva. What are those? There is something called larva. What is that? Nancy explains that they are the baby mosquitoes, but they don't look like mosquitoes at all. They are the baby mosquitoes which are known as larvae, and slowly these baby mosquitoes, they become larvae and they become pupa, and then they become the adult mosquitoes. Again this process continues. Adult mosquitoes, again they breed eggs, eggs become larva, pupa, again it continues, the cycle continues. But these baby mosquitoes, these larvae do not look exactly like the mosquitoes. They look very small, like tadpoles, like a fish, you can say. Arti asks, where did you see them? Where could you see the larva? Nancy had a very good experience and she had seen those baby mosquitoes, the larva. Where was it? She explains, there was an old pot lying behind our house. It was full of water for some days. When I looked there, I saw some tiny thread-like grey things swimming. I was surprised when Mummy told me that these had come out of the eggs which mosquitoes lay in water. They are called larvae. I also heard something about this on the radio. Now, that's why the poster read that you should not allow the water to collect anywhere around your house. There was this old pot behind the house of Nancy and it was full of water for many days, and that's why it helped the mosquitoes to come and lay eggs in that water, and slowly those eggs became the larvae. So this could be very dangerous when you get the larvae of mosquitoes around your house in the water, and they help to spread the disease. Now it is very clearly understood that whenever the water gets collected in a particular place for some days, then it becomes the breeding place for the mosquitoes. So we should be very careful, and we should not allow water anywhere around our house to get collected and get stagnant, so that it can help the mosquitoes to breed. Rajat asked, what did you do when you saw that, the larvae? Nancy said, Papa immediately threw away the water. He cleaned and dried the pot and kept it upside down so that no water would collect. This is exactly what we should also do when we see anywhere water got collected around our house. We should clean it, we should dry and leave the place clean so that the mosquitoes could not breed there. Jaskirat says, Shazia auntie told me that even flies spread diseases, especially stomach problems. Rajat asked, but flies don't bite. Then how do they spread disease? Children, flies do not bite, but they carry the disease carrying germs along with them. So wherever they sit, they leave the germs on that surface, and slowly and gradually the germs affect the surface wherever they were sitting and they spread the disease. So it is not that only when an insect bites, then only it will affect you with the disease. Without biting also they can spread the disease, because they carry the disease carrying germs along with that, and they spread it wherever they go. So wherever they sit, they leave the germs there, and then the person gets affected with the germ. So this is what we learnt about how the mosquitoes breed and how can we avoid the breeding of the mosquitoes. First of all, we should not let the water to get collected anywhere. We should keep the places of water, let it be the pot or the tanks or the coolers, clean and dried, and we should use mosquito nets or mosquito repellent creams to keep ourselves safe, and we should spray kerosene if we find anywhere there is water. Okay. Now let us know about a great scientist. This is a very interesting story, that how did we know that malaria is spread by a mosquito. There was this a scientist who peeps into a mosquito's stomach. This interesting incident took place almost 100 years ago. A scientist found out that mosquitoes spread malaria. Before that, it was not known that malaria could be spread through mosquitoes. So we should know about how this discovery took place in the own words of the scientist himself. The scientist says, "My father was a general in the Indian Army. I studied to become a doctor. But what I really liked was reading stories, writing poetry, music and drama. In my free time, I enjoyed doing all this." So the father of the scientist was a general in the Indian Army. But the scientist, he became a doctor, and he had many different interests like reading stories, writing poems, music and drama. So whenever he got free time, he enjoyed by involving in these activities. In those days, thousands of people used to die from a disease that we now call malaria. The disease was found in areas where there was a lot of rain or in swampy places. People thought that the illness was caused by some poisonous gas that came from the dirty swampy areas. They gave it the name malaria, which means bad air. One doctor had seen tiny germs in the blood of one of the patients when he observed it under a microscope, but he could not understand how this had got into the patient's blood. So it was believed before so many days that wherever there was rain, the places were wet and damp, so there was some kind of poisonous gas around the atmosphere which helped in affecting this disease, malaria. So the doctor could see the tiny germs in the blood sample, but they didn't know from where did these germs come to the blood of the patient. So then what happened? My professor had some ideas about this. The scientist had his professor and he had some ideas about this. I think that these may be carried by some kind of mosquito. As his student, I spent all my time chasing mosquitoes to catch and observe. We used to carry empty bottles and chase mosquito after mosquito. Then we would put the mosquitoes into a mosquito net in which there was a patient of malaria. The mosquitoes would have a feast, biting the patients. The patients were paid 1 anna for allowing one mosquito to bite them. Anna is the currency which was used in the earlier times, before currency, rupee, notes came into use. So at that time, the professor said that mosquito could be the carrier of malaria, and as a student of his professor, the scientist worked very hard to find out how this could happen. So he used the bottles and they would chase mosquito, and then the mosquitoes were put into the mosquito net and they were allowed to bite the patient. In this way, he did a lot of hard work, and finally what happened we will get to know. I will always remember those days at the hospital in Secunderabad, how we used to cut open the mosquito's stomach and peep into it. As a doctor, as a scientist, they had to do the research, so they had to dissect the body of the mosquito and they found out where was the germ. I would spend hours and hours bent over the microscope. We know that we could not see these tiny organisms through our naked eye. So, with the help of the microscope, he used to find out what was there inside the body of those mosquitoes. By night, my neck would be stiff and my eyes could not see clearly. It used to be very hot, but we dared not fan ourselves as all the mosquitoes would fly off in the breeze. Once I also fell ill with malaria, so the scientist himself also got affected by the disease in trying to find out the reason. I spent months like this with the microscope but could not find anything. One day we caught a few mosquitoes that looked different. They were brownish with spotted wings. When I looked into the stomach of one of the female mosquitoes, I saw something black there. I looked closer. I saw that these tiny germs looked just like the ones that were found in the blood of malaria patients. At last we had the proof mosquitoes did spread malaria. So this was the day when the scientist got the real result of his hard work and he got the carrier of the disease malaria, that was the female mosquitoes, the Anopheles, which were brown with spotted wings. These were the carriers of the malarial parasite. So in December 1902, Ronald Ross, he was the scientist who got the highest award for his discovery, the Nobel Prize for Medicine. In 1905, even as he lay dying, Ross' last words were, I will find something new. So this is how it was found that mosquitoes are the carriers of malaria. So we learned that how these mosquitoes carry the malarial parasite and how should we take care of ourselves from this dreadful disease. Students, I told you earlier also that mosquitoes do not only spread malaria, but there are many other diseases like dengue and chikungunya also, which are spread by these mosquitoes. So it's better to avoid the mosquitoes in a good and effective way. We should keep our neighborhood, our houses free from stagnant water, which becomes the breeding place for the mosquitoes. In that way only we could help ourselves to be free from the diseases like malaria, dengue or chikungunya. I do hope that you have understood the chapter very well and you will take precautions to save yourselves from this dreadful disease, or otherwise we will be a grand treat for the mosquitoes. I do wish that we do not turn out to be the treats for the mosquitoes, rather we keep ourselves safe and healthy from this dreadful disease of malaria or dengue or chikungunya. So students, I do believe that you have understood the chapter very well, isn't it? But there are few questions. So let us discuss what we have read so far. Here is the first question for you. What other diseases can be caused by mosquito bites? I repeat the question. What other diseases can be caused by mosquito bites? Following are some other diseases which can be caused by mosquito bites. They are dengue, chikungunya and filaria. I hope you have got all your answers correctly. Okay. Now let us move to the next question. In which season is malaria more common and why do you think this happens? I repeat the question. In which season is malaria more common and why do you think this happens? Malaria is more common in rainy season, isn't it students? Yes. So malaria is more common in rainy season and that is because the mosquitoes, they get suitable environment to breed during the rainy season and hence there are more cases of malaria. Okay. Now let us move to the next question. What do you do in your house to protect yourself from mosquitoes? Also find out from your friends about what they do. Yes, I know it very properly that you all know the answers. Yes. So, here is the answer. That's absolutely correct. We use mosquito repellent in our house, and you would have also asked your friends, he also asked, and what they got. The measures used by you and your friends are mosquito repellents. They come in coils, liquids and mats also. Mosquito repellent cream, mosquito nets, wire mesh on windows, keeping the surroundings clean and removing stagnant water from the surroundings. Okay. So, here is the blood report given below, and which words in the report help us to know that the person has malaria? We have already discussed it, that in the blood test report it is clearly written that malarial parasite was found in the blood. So, it tells us that the person has malaria. Okay. We have the blood reports here, and we have to find out some interesting facts about this blood report. So, here is the question for you students. Look at Aarti's blood report and find out the minimum required hemoglobin. Look at Aarti's blood report and find out the minimum required hemoglobin. Yes, you could observe it very carefully in the blood report given to you. The minimum hemoglobin level required in the blood is 12 gram per deciliter. I repeat the answer. The minimum hemoglobin level required in the blood is 12 gram per deciliter. Let us move to the next question. How much did Aarti's hemoglobin go up and how long did it take for that? Is it written there? Yes, it's written in the other report. Aarti's hemoglobin increased by 2.5 gram per deciliter, that is by around 30%, and it took about 3 months. Now we have the next question for you. What does the newspaper report say about the problems caused by anemia? I repeat the question. What does the newspaper report say about the problems caused by anemia? Yes, you are all absolutely correct. The answer is, the newspaper reports say that anemia affects both physical and mental health of children. And due to anemia, children do not grow properly and their energy levels are also down. This affects their study as well. Here is another question for you. Have you or anyone in your family ever needed to get a blood test? When and why? This is a very common question for all of you students. Most of us have this in our homes, and most of our family members would have gone for a blood test. So yes, you could mention it that your father, your mother or your brother or sister or you yourself had gone for a blood test about 6 months back or 4 months back, about a week back, and she was suffering from fever. Okay. Here is another question for you. What was found out by the blood test? Here in the answer it is written, the blood report said that my mother was suffering from malaria. You could find out whatever was there in your blood test report and you could mention the same disease. This is our next question. Have you had a health checkup in your school and what did the doctor tell you? Yes, there was a health checkup camp in my school, maybe 1 year back or 6 months back, and what did the doctor say? Yes, the doctor said that I was fit and healthy. I do believe that you all are healthy and very much safe, isn't it? Okay. There is another question for you. Ask a doctor or elders about the food items which contain iron. We have already learnt it in the lesson that which food items contain iron. Yes, absolutely correct. So, green leafy vegetables like spinach, lettuce and cabbage contain iron. Okay, students, this is the question related to the poster which we have seen it. So, here is the question. Have you seen any poster like this put up anywhere? Yes, I have seen such posters near my school. So, the next question is there for you. Who do you think puts up such posters or gives ads in the newspaper? Who do you think puts up such posters or gives ads in the newspaper? Yes, the government does so for spreading awareness, isn't it? So here is the answer. The government does so. Next question for you is, what are some of the important points given in the poster? I repeat the question. What are some of the important points given in the poster? The important points in the poster are as follows. First one, beware of mosquitoes as they cause serious diseases like malaria, dengue and chikungunya. Next one, don't allow water to stagnate around you. Next is, clean your surroundings to rule out breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Next, fish can be put in ponds to remove mosquito larvae. Mosquito net should be used to prevent against mosquito bites. And kerosene oil should be sprayed on water to prevent mosquito eggs to grow. Okay. So here we come to the next question. The question is, why do you think pictures of a tank, cooler and pits are shown in the poster? Why do you think pictures of a tank, cooler and pits are shown in the poster? So the answer is, these are the places where water can stagnate and could allow mosquitoes a breeding ground. So there are the pictures of tank, coolers and pits shown in the poster. Okay. Now these are the questions which you should think about and answer. The question is here for you. Why do you think it talks about putting fish in the tank? What do you think the fish eat? So why it talks about putting fish in the tank and what do you think the fish eat? Absolutely correct. It talks so because the fish eats larvae of the mosquito. Okay, so that's why it is advised to put fish in the tank. Next question for you is, what will happen when oil is spread on the water? You are spraying kerosene on the water. So what will happen when oil is spread on the water? Absolutely correct, children. The thin film of oil on water prevents oxygen supply to eggs and larvae of mosquitoes and thus they are killed. So the larvae will not get the oxygen to breed and that's why they will be killed. So that's why oil is spread on the water and it reduces the breeding of the mosquitoes. Here we have another question for you. Which diseases are spread by flies and how? I repeat the question, which diseases are spread by flies and how? Yes, you people are absolutely correct. Following diseases are spread by flies: dysentery, cholera, typhoid, anthrax, etc. And when a fly sits on contaminated material, harmful germs stick to its legs. And when the same fly sits on food, the germs get transferred to the food. And that's why a fly spreads various diseases even without biting. Understood? Okay. What have we learnt all throughout this chapter? So this is what we have learnt, that we should not allow water logging in the area around us and we should clean the cooler and water tank regularly. We should spray DDT and kerosene oil in drains, pits, etc. And we can cultivate fish in nearby ditches, pits, ponds, etc. so that we do not help the mosquito breeding around our house, school and neighborhood. Okay, so this is what we learnt today. So I do hope that you all have understood the chapter very clearly and you will take care of yourself and also your friends and family members and will stay safe and healthy. Thank you.